Ah.
Greetings, friends. It's Josh,
I'm Ryan.
and we're here today at the end of May for another exciting episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast. And I was trying to figure out a way to make it rhyme, but I could not.
Nope.
Utter failure on my part. So, welcome to the podcast for gamers who do not have time to game.
Woo.
I'm excited about today's episode, as always.
Of course.
It's just Ryan and me today, and that's good and wonderful. So, Ryan, I've got a story that I'll start us off with.
Ooh, I love stories.
As is our custom.
That's the way we do things.
So we've been doing a lot of cleaning around our house lately.
You have?
And, yes,
this is true.
And that leaves mass. So cleaning leads to chaos, is what I've discovered.
True.
But one of the things that has happened at one point, a door got left open, like from either the garage or the front door, so that like a wasp ended up inside my house as we were cleaning and things like
Nice.
that. And so I was like, oh, crud, well, I got to get rid of this thing. And I was like, my daughter was freaking out, like, there's a wasp. And so I am, I do the only logical thing in my head, and that was to grab our little Dyson handheld vacuum. And like that I happened to have handy because we're doing so much cleaning. And so like I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this sucker, and like which is funny because I'm using a sucker to get the sucker. Sorry, there goes my mind again.
Squirrel.
So I'm gonna get the vacuum and I'm gonna suck the thing up. So I'm like chasing him around the house, like trying to like just like tapping the trigger, pulling on the trigger for the Dyson. And I eventually corner him in like a window, and I get him and I suck him up, and I'm like, okay, that's the end of that. And I let it run for a little bit so it spins around, and
And then...
And I put it down and I look, and there's this little wasp just kind of like drunkenly wandering around inside the canister for the Dyson. And I'm like, oh gosh, the thing is not dead. So I pulled the trigger again and like held it for a while so it would just like spin around and spin around and spin around.
Josh tortures a bug.
And I set it down again. I was like, certainly that thing has like its head has been smashed enough that nope, it is still just like crawling around
hanging.
in the dust encrusted like inside of the Dyson. And I'm like, what am I gonna do?
What does a guy have to do to kill a wasp around here?
And so I just like, I guess I'm just gonna take this thing outside. And so like I take it outside and open it up, and like sure enough, that thing gets out of the canister covered in just all of the dust. It like a white cloud of like just dust and trash is covered this thing, and it just takes off and flies away like some kind of undead ghost wasp.
You know what would have been really funny is if you went through all of that and then released it, and as it starts to fly away, a bird just like snatches it out of the air. That's what I was really hoping for, that story.
That would have been amazing and that probably is what happened, because he was very very visible. He was not hiding from anything. I have no idea though. Like,
that's impressive.
No, for real. So chalk that up to evolution or whatever. And
that wasp has been hitting the gym.
Survival of the fittest at its best, right there. Like, I don't know, something about that thing.
I'm impressed.
I thought for sure it would die. It works on spiders. Like you suck a spider up in that thing, it's gone.
Oh yeah,
it's dead.
That's a game over.
But that does not work with wasps. I thought for sure. Like how And I'm sure that I don't want to say poor thing, I don't guess, because it's a wasp and they're evil. But I'm sure the thing was just like, what is happening?
Why are you doing
on?
this to me?
What is happening? I don't understand. Yeah, jeez. Anyway, so that's my fun anecdote.
I like it.
For the week. Yeah,
I like it.
So, I'm sure it was because my daughter left the door open. I'm sure that had something to do with like
Kids would never.
Oh my gosh,
do
it's
that.
been that has been like a huge fight with her lately, where it's like, honey, you have to close the door when you come inside or go outside. Shut the door. Like it happened twice today. Just like, girl, come on.
Mine has been they leave the lights on everywhere. And for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, I am that meme. Like, I am the dad that's like going around behind, turning all the lights off. I was like, no, I am not this person. Yes, I am.
We just got my daughter a bunk bed, or not a bunk bed, a loft bed.
Mm-hmm.
And she has realized that she can turn off her light with the pool.
Oh yeah.
Rather than using the switch. She has, for whatever reason, she'll turn her light on and then climb up in her bed and turn it off with the switch. I'm like, and so it happened to me, and I went into her room and I turned her light on and it didn't come on.
Like, what's wrong with this?
And I went
thing?
into freak out mode, like what is going on? And then a couple days later, I got a text from M, and she was like, "Hey, I think a breaker might have blown." And I was like, "Maybe go check it." And so she goes down, she checks the breaker, and she's like, "No breakers are blown." And she comes back up, and she's like, "Something's wrong with the light in our daughter's room." And I was like, "Oh gosh, right, our daughter's room, in which." She has been turning off the light with the pull string, so
it's funny.
Yeah, no, it's been a super frustrating thing, and so I had to sit her down and be like, "Honey, you can't
Please don't do
that because it's confusing to mom and dad because we're old and senile. You have to understand, we don't think about pulling through the thing." So anyway. Oh man, kids are fun though.
Kids are fun.
Kids are crazy. So yeah, that's what's going on, and it's the end of May.
It is the end of May.
Yeah, and that means it's news.
Time for news.
Time for video game news.
Woo!
Woohoo! So there have been some really, really weird, interesting things. So the first thing that this is, as a retro gamer, I find this really fun and interesting.
Oh, here we go.
Atari bought Intellivision.
Huh. You
Which
weren't kidding when you said retro.
right?
All right.
No, so Atari and Intellivision were like the first Nintendo and Sega, right?
Yeah.
That was the first console war, was Atari versus Intellivision, and now it has finally come to an end. Atari has purchased Intellivision, and they are now won. Atari has won the first console war after 40
years later.
Hey, it takes time. So
That is interesting, though. I had not heard that, so
that I thought that was a fun thing to have happen.
that is really cool.
Yeah.
Nice. First console war.
First console war. It's over.
Amazing.
Over. Done. So maybe that's not as interesting as I thought. But I thought it was interesting.
I thought it was. I thought it was interesting.
I don't know what exactly. Atari makes games, and I guess that does give them access to a bunch of, Intellivision games that haven't been put out in a long time.
Yeah.
And that Atari can now.
Yeah, my first thought was like, what does that really do?
Yeah.
But I guess it gives them their game
The
library.
game library is what it does. Yeah, for sure. So some good stuff there. Another interesting thing. So that's kind of on the back end of things, like way in the past, 40 years ago. Xbox has some ideas about the future of gaming.
Oh, here we go.
That I thought was it could be weird. So, Xbox's next. This was from a website that I've got here. WCCFtech.com is where I've pulled this article from. But Xbox's next will be a reference design for manufacturers to make their own devices, and this is just a rumor, according to them. But apparently, they're outsourcing the actual console. They will have like the hardware
Okay.
and the software, and they'll like send that out, and then you build whatever console you want with it, basically. So basically what they've done is they've made the Xbox a gaming PC.
I was gonna say, so this is just the gaming PC, right? That's what we're talking about here.
Yes, that is 100% what we are talking about.
All right.
So that's the rumor about what the next Xbox will be, which I find an interesting kind of flip, because that does allow them to access to like start pulling from Steam library.
Yeah.
If that's what they're gonna do, that allows them to be more. I don't know. There's just a lot of interesting stuff that could happen with that.
That is really interesting. I'm just having like thoughts about like possible implications for that.
Oh no, there's tons.
So one thought that I'm having is games like Horizon Zero Dawn or God of War, some of those that are PlayStation exclusives for 5 years and then they come to PC. I'm wondering if that then means like those PlayStation exclusives are now on Xbox. Like that's the first thought that comes to my mind.
That's exactly what that means.
Yeah. So
I think anyway.
That's really interesting.
I think that is Xbox's way of trying to win the console war with Sony.
Yeah.
For them to go, hey, we don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Like we're not playing this game anymore. We're just gonna focus on what we do. We're gonna provide the hardware. People can design their own cases and make their own. They can put it out however they want to. They can make it portable. They can make it whatever. However they can figure it out.
That's a really cool idea.
It could be.
I hope it's true.
It could be a very interesting thing. It's such a weird time for gaming right now.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, because I don't know what happens next, right? Like, for the longest time, like everyone assumed, well, of course, virtual reality is going to be the future of gaming, and I have, everyone knows, or at least if you've been listening to the show for a while, I've got an Oculus. I love the Oculus. I think it's a great thing. At least I have a 2. I have a 2. I don't have a 3, but which seems amazing as well. But I just don't see that the headset thing being the future.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Of video games. In order for like a true virtual reality experience where it's like a full like fully immersive, like that's an entire room. That's not going to be in someone's home. That's a arcade type thing, which that could be an interesting dynamic that gets introduced at some point, is virtual arcades. Where you have like kind of escape room type building.
That would be pretty sweet.
Where you go in and every room is a different game. That would be awesome, actually.
I think with the way technology is going, games they're so large in terms of file size that the headset just doesn't work for that. Like you can't Call of Duty, the last one I played, which was 3 or 4 years ago, was like 100+ gigabytes file size. So you can't put that on a virtual reality headset. Like that just doesn't work.
No.
And so the technology just doesn't quite.
So anyway, there's a lot of weird stuff that's going to happen, I think, in the next 15, 20 years with video gaming.
That's for sure.
Of course, the other thing, the other side of that is as we've talked about in the last couple of episodes, is that like it seems like with the amount of money that's being thrown around in game development and games and things like that, that like that's not really sustainable, right? Like the amount of money that's getting tossed around is not sustainable.
Something has to give.
So who knows what that leads to, but since we're on the topic of acquisitions to some extent, yeah, I guess the Xbox thing wasn't about acquisitions, but it's still interesting. Anyway, beside the point. Nintendo has acquired a company called Shiver.
Okay.
And Shiver was a group that was responsible for porting the several games to the Switch.
Okay.
So that is an interesting development because what that essentially means is that Nintendo now has bought a company that has worked extensively with porting other games from other consoles to the Switch, which could work one of two ways. That could mean that they're going to be working more to get more and more games ported over to Switch, or could also be a way of exporting Nintendo games from Switch to other consoles. Which that would be an interesting step for Nintendo.
Can we have both, please?
Right. Right. I'm obviously not saying like we're not going to see Mario on Sony on a PlayStation or on an Xbox, but like if there's if there is a Nintendo game that Nintendo has developed that they want to put out on other consoles, that is a potential avenue for them to do such things. And I don't know. Could be a good.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah. So Ryan, I'm doing a lot of talking. I don't know if you've got anything.
A couple things, yeah. So one thing I'm trying to look up the exact quote. Speaking of Nintendo, there's a Nintendo Direct in June, and the person like kind of in charge of it was quoted as saying, I don't want to get it wrong, but he was basically quoted as saying like this Nintendo Direct will be only talking about the games coming out on Switch for the second half of 2024. We won't be talking about our next console, which is already in the works, or something like that.
Ooh.
Basically, the way he phrased the quote was like acknowledging that we're already working on the next console, but we're not going to talk about it until like Q1 of 2025. Is somehow I don't know the exact quote, but everyone was like, "Oh, so you're admitting basically that you're working on it?
It's out there,"
which everyone had already accepted. But
see, and that's the other thing. Like the next step for Nintendo is going to be is crucial for their future. I feel like just to figure out we've got our portable console that does everything that we want it to do. It's a home console. It's a portable console. How do we take that up a notch? Like, what do we do to take it to to move forward with it?
I saw one person, and this is just one person, and it's just a theory. It's an awesome theory, but I don't know how practical it is. One person's theory is that it'll be the Nintendo Switch 2, but that it will somehow be able to incorporate some levels of backwards compatibility with, of course, the Nintendo Switch, but then potentially some of their other handheld devices. I don't even know how they would do that, but that was his theory as to like how they're gonna take that next step, which I don't think they'll do. Yeah. But it's a really cool theory. Yeah. And like
I don't know. That would be weird.
Yeah, it would. To be able to like pop in your like Game Boy Advance games that wouldn't work. But
Right. The Super Switch is what it's going to be called.
Oh my gosh, did you have the thing for the Super Nintendo where you could put your Game Boy game inside that into that was so cool.
I think I have two of those actually.
That was so cool.
It would be really cool if they incorporate, this is not going to happen, but a disc drive system that you could play that you can now play Wii games on the Switch.
That would be cool.
I would take that
as part of the dock. Yeah, like the docking system had a disc reader.
Has a disc reader.
Oh,
see, why not? Right? We can dream. That's never going to happen, but
if Nintendo hasn't already patented that, I think we just became the first to say it, and so
All right, Nintendo. Where's
Hey,
our sponsorship? We're waiting.
So, no, that was just one person's theory. I don't think it's practical, but I would really like to see if they do a Switch 2, which is what everyone says.
Yes, it's. Yeah.
I would really like to see the Switch games be able to be played on it.
Yeah,
because that would be like I already am not that interested in a Switch 2, but if I can't play my current games on it, I'm
for sure.
less than 0% interested.
I have no doubt that whatever they come out with will be backwards compatible with Switch games.
Yeah, they kind of have to.
I think they have to at this point. It's like, because what they've done is basically they've made it's a Game Boy, right? Like,
yeah, it's a really cool Game Boy.
Like, or a DS or whatever you want to call it. Like, I mean, that's basically what it is, except that it's, portable. All right, that it's can hook up to a TV as well. So I don't know. Like, that's going to be an interesting development as well. So
yeah. So like I said, I can't remember the exact quote, but the way he said it, he essentially said, "We're already working on it, and we'll talk about it early 2025."
Right.
This next Nintendo Direct, we're just talking about games. So.
You know what they're going to announce? Metroid
Lots
Prime
of people
4.
have said that too.
Metroid Prime 4! Please!
That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
Well, a lot of people did say that in the comments, like, "Oh, they're going to be talking about Metroid Prime 4." Like,
no, they're not. No, they're not.
You're going to be disappointed, but
they're going to be They might talk about Metroid Prime 2 and 3 re-releases. For the Switch would be, if they were going to talk about anything Metroid related, that would be my guess, is that they're going to release 2 and 3 remasters, but which will be good, and I'll buy those obviously. So let's see here, what else have we got? One of my favorite subjects and one of my favorite things about talking video games. It has been determined by Valve, the company who is behind the Steam platform.
Yep.
They have determined that you cannot bequeath your Steam account in a will.
Because reasons. Therefore, once again, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. Like, like, what do you mean I can't bequeath a Steam? So all those games
the stuff,
you bought,
all the money that I gave you is
you
just keep? It's so stupid.
What do they do with it? It just sits there and no one can use it.
I mean, I guess what they mean. Maybe if you just leave your password, they can't do anything about it.
Okay, that was the next thing I was gonna say. What are they gonna do if I give if I give someone my password?
I guess what they're saying is that, like, you can't transfer your Steam library
from one account to another. In
a will, which again is utterly ridiculous.
So
because again, I paid the money for the games.
Yeah.
Like, these are like, why not? Why can't I not do that? And just, I can't harp enough on how important it is that we don't lose physical media. Like, it is so freaking important, and I will shout it from the rooftops until I'm deaf. And everyone else is deaf from hearing me yell.
So, I guess in your will, what you would have to do is include in your will your Steam login and password.
That I will, yes, I leave my Steam password and login to Ryan.
So that's how you give that's just dumb.
No,
Come on, Valve. Yeah, get your stuff together.
I just boggles the mind.
Here's a story that I was going to tell at the beginning of the episode, but then we started talking about other stuff.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about physical media, my two oldest sons both enjoy playing video games. So the other day we went out and I was trying to just get the kids out of the house because my wife was working on some stuff, and so I thought, let's go to a local store here where they Game Exchange, where they sell video games and Legos and Pokemon cards and all kinds of cool stuff. So anyway, both kids took their own money with them, and my oldest boy bought Lego Indiana Jones.
Nice.
The original. I think it has the first 3.
Yeah,
maybe?
yes, it's got the 3.
And my middle child bought Lego Batman, both for Xbox 360.
Nice.
Which both work on the Series
yes.
X.
Yes.
So that was awesome because that added to our physical collection. And something happened. They got these weird things that came with the disc. Mm-hmm. You open the case that the game is in, and there's this little paper thing in there with like 15 to 20 pages talking about the game.
Telling you how to play
Game manuals.
Telling you how to play the game.
Amazing.
Back when they expected you to actually read before you played the game, and then rather than giving you a tutorial to learn how to play, here's a book for you to read about how the game works.
So both of them at bedtime, because we let the kids read for like 20 minutes before they go to sleep. Both of them, what they've been reading for bedtime reading is their game manual.
Oh my god!
Which is awesome to me, but also I'm going, don't tear it up, don't get the pages too folded.
Very careful with that. It's an antique.
But no, game manuals. I forgot about game manuals.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is like there are so many like NES games, like the old games, like with the newer games that had manuals, they had a case, that the disc went in.
Yep.
And the manual was in there in there. With like, the NES games and stuff like that, it's like, oh, here's a box for your game. You open the box, here's the manual, throw that aside, here's the game.
Yep.
Throw the box away. Where does your manual go? I don't know.
No one knows.
No one knows. That manual is gone. So there are like a bunch of NES games that no one can play because they don't have the manual and there are no instructions in the game that tell you how it works.
Oh, man. So I thought it was super cool, since you're talking about physical media, I was like, I just got 2 more games for the collection.
Yeah.
And it's Indiana Jones and Batman, so,
The funny thing about that is I thought what you were going to say is that each of them came with a second game that you weren't expecting. Because that's something else that they started at one point in time, like for 360s, like you would buy one game and it would come with like this secondary game with it. Like so like my version of either Lego Batman or Lego Indiana Jones, one or the other, has a like motocross game attached with it called Pure.
Yeah, it's Lego Batman.
Okay.
We saw that there. That was like an option.
Gotcha.
But it was like $2 more.
Gotcha.
And, my 5, almost 6-year-old didn't care at all about that. He just cared about the $2. And so I was like, all right, you're the one buying it, so buy what you want, buddy.
Yeah. I have that one.
So, I saw that one there, and I was like, I'm pretty sure Josh has this one, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was Lego Batman and like a racing game of some kind or something. So.
Yeah, so it's wild that they would do that.
Yeah.
Like, here are 2 games for the price of 1.
No one wants this other game, so please just take it.
Yes. Pretty much. I don't know. I have never played that. I should, that should be, we should start another, like, I don't know. We don't have time for this, but should like start doing a Josh's backlog where I like just start playing all of the games that I have that I never even remotely thought about playing, just because I got them for free, like someone gave them to me, or I got them in a lot sale or something like that. But yeah.
So other gaming news, bringing us back on topic. Yesterday, there was a Sony State of Play. If you're a PlayStation gamer, that's their version of, Xbox does the showcase, Nintendo does the direct, Sony does the State of Play.
State of Play.
It was underwhelming, I'll say.
Not surprised.
I trying not to be biased because I have an Xbox, I have a Nintendo Switch. I do not have a PlayStation. Well, I have a PlayStation 4 that's a really cool looking paperweight because it doesn't work anymore.
Oh, it still's not. I thought you got it fixed.
It comes and goes. Like,
okay.
Sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm gonna work, and then other times no. So
I'm sorry.
I haven't totally figured it out. But honestly, ever since I got the Xbox, it's a paperweight anyway.
Okay.
So,
fair enough.
So I was trying not to be biased, but there's just not much reason for me. The only thing I want a PlayStation 4 is Spider-Man, and there's literally nothing else.
Right.
So like I'm not paying that much money just to play one game.
Nope. Understood.
So there was a couple cool things. There was a free game they showed called Marvel Rivals, which is like a free-to-play PvP game.
Okay, I think we might have talked about that. Maybe.
I think what they were showing is either an expansion to that or
Gotcha.
an update to that. They were basically showcasing that you'll be able to play as Venom.
Oh.
Which I thought was cool.
Yeah,
because it's
sure.
Venom. But, I don't have a PlayStation, so it doesn't matter. And then the only other thing I saw that was even kind of interesting was Path of Exile 2, which, if you're not familiar with, basically Path of Exile is I don't want to call it a Diablo ripoff. It's more like a Diablo, hey, that's a really good game, so we're going to copy it, because imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Right.
So it's kind of,
Yes.
it's free to play. So Path of Exile 2, I assume, is also going to be free to play. But
Nice.
yeah, but otherwise it was kind of just like, meh.
Microsoft's doing some interesting things. Nintendo's doing some interesting things. I'm just not like, and I've never like.
I'm not sure what their angle is right now.
I've never been huge on Sony anyway. Like, I've never loved the PlayStation. I had friends who were like, oh, the PlayStation's better than the 64. I'm like, you're crazy. Like, there's no way that the Sony PlayStation is better than the 64. The 64 is like one of the greatest systems of all time. I don't care what anyone else tells you.
That is correct. That is the technically correct answer.
The only reason I initially got a PlayStation 2 was for Guitar Hero. That was literally
Fair enough.
That was literally the only reason I bought it. And I to be honest with you, I'm glad that I did. There's a ton of games on the PlayStation 2 that I absolutely fell in love with that I think are great games. I never bought a PlayStation 3. There was nothing about a PlayStation 3 that interested me. The Xbox 360 I thought was a better console.
Fair enough.
And I could get all of the same games on a 360 that I would want to play on a PS3. So why bother? I got the PS4 because of Spider-Man and because of Detroit. Those were the two games that I was like, I gotta play those games.
Yeah.
And it was worth it because my wife told me it was okay.
Then you win.
Because she wanted to play Detroit too. But like when the PS5 was announced, I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
That was kind of my thing.
I don't feel like they've ever done anything, and I could be completely wrong on this, but I don't feel like Sony has ever done anything that was just like mind-blowingly, this is going to change video games. It's always been, it's exactly what you said, like, hey, you're doing that, that's cool, we should do that too.
I think... So, I had a 360 and a PS3, and in my mind, those consoles were tied. I liked both of them. I couldn't choose one as the winner. The PS4 over the, the Xbox One, that one to me was an easy choice. I thought the PS4 won that generation, if you will.
Sure.
I feel like the Series X has won this generation. So, what I'll say, not to disagree, but my counterpoint would be, I felt like the PS4 in particular was a really incredible era of exclusive games.
Fair.
I think they did a fantastic job with Spider-Man, The Last of Us, which was technically PS3, but the God of War games. So, but they don't have that anymore.
Right.
They lost the exclusivity, and now it's
the problem with the exclusives, though, the problem with having exclusives is that you shut yourself off if you don't have longevity with the exclusives. See, Nintendo does a great job with their exclusives.
Yeah.
Because they're beloved.
Yeah.
Right? Sony's exclusives have no longevity with them.
No, that's
right?
why they're losing this current generation,
Right.
is because they're not making The Last of Us 3. They're making The Last of Us remastered for the 15th time. Right. And
yeah. So I don't know, like I was saying, like I remember when the Wii came out, when the Nintendo Wii came out and it had the motion controls and everything, and Microsoft was like, oh, well, we have to come out with something that is similar. And they came out with the Kinect.
Kinect, yep.
Which was full body movement and, with a camera and everything.
Yeah.
And it failed, but at least it was pushing video games.
They were forced to respond.
Let's do something. Hey, Nintendo's doing great with this. This is an amazing idea. What can we do to take that and go, okay, let's improve on that. Sony looks at it and goes, okay, we'll make a wand.
We'll put
a ball.
We'll put a clown nose on the end of this stick.
Right. And it's like, you took Nintendo's idea and you copied it.
And did horribly.
And you did it horribly. Again, the Kinect was a failure, but there were you could do some fun stuff with it.
Yeah.
Like, it was fun. I enjoyed having a Kinect. And I enjoyed what I could do with it, but, again, it's not something that I'm interested in now.
But they got away from what worked well for the PS3 and PS4, which was their exclusive titles. Instead of continuing to make those, they remastered them and copied off of other people, and they just got away from what was working for them.
Yeah.
And
so I don't know what the answer is for Sony. I've never been a massive PlayStation fan. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, all you do is copy other people.
The one thing, so
you don't try to innovate, you don't try to create anything, you just copy other people.
One thing they did that won over a lot of fans, when the Xbox One was announced at E3.
Yes, that was
Microsoft butchered
Microsoft
that entire thing. That was just like the worst PR
Microsoft
possible.
Absolutely blew that. Because they were trying to skip a generation, essentially.
And so, like, there was this whole debacle about, like, you can't let your friends borrow your games or, you know, whatever. And so Sony came out the next day and was like, if you want your friend to borrow your game, here's how you do it. And he just hands it to the guy next to him.
Yeah.
And so, like, they really won over people with the way they, like, basically their marketing team.
Well, I had forgotten about that. But, so, like, essentially what happened with that situation is Microsoft totally misjudged the situation.
Yeah.
Microsoft totally thought, oh, we're to a point now where not cloud gaming, but digital gaming is the way that we want to go. So we're just going to force it on people starting now because it's what we want to do. And what turned out to be the case was that people still, at that point, still wanted physical media.
Yeah.
And now you skip to the next generation, and Sony has, like, their primary thing is, this is a digital console. And you can get the one with the disc drive if you want it. But it's
meanwhile, Xbox is buying everyone they can so that they can have exclusives.
Right.
Go figure.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Interesting times.
Yeah, no, we
world.
were saying earlier, very interesting times in the gaming world.
So why were we talking about Sony? Oh, they had the State of Play.
Yeah, State of Play, yes.
Yeah, it was underwhelming. So I was reading some reviews just to make sure it wasn't just me and my bias, and no, other people were underwhelmed too. So
well, Sony is underwhelming. Go figure.
Yeah, so
it's what happens when you have like 30,000 different things that you do.
Yeah.
See, here's the other. So going back to my point, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna let this go because
That's okay. This is our show, and we can do whatever we want, Josh.
It's true. Even Spider-Man, as great a game as Spider-Man is,
It was a copy of other
it's
stuff.
a copy of
Yes.
Arkham.
Yes,
It is
it's
100%. They said, oh, the Arkham Asylum games are great.
Yes.
We're just going to take that and we're going to import the concept and throw it into Spider-Man. That's all they did. And they put, instead of Batman, it's Spider-Man. And don't get me wrong, I love the Spider-Man game on the PS4. It's amazing. It's great. But it's Arkham. And that's why it's great.
They even do it to themselves. So have you ever played any of the Drake's Uncharted?
No, I have not.
So, great games. The first one or two were like extremely popular. Even the third and fourth one got overall good reviews. Except if you ever play them, you would go, wait a minute, I've played this before. It's called Tomb Raider. They even copied themselves. They do it to themselves.
Oh, man. But they couldn't do it with Tomb Raider again because, misogynistic. Sorry, that was
And
probably,
now we get canceled.
that was probably inappropriate, but let's see. Anyway, one other thing before moving on, if you're good to move on from Sony.
Yeah.
One other thing that I've got. This is the last piece of news that. The last piece of news that's directly video game related. I have a tangential thing that we'll talk about.
Nice.
That you know about. That we'll talk about. But Activision Blizzard is set to cough up $23.4 million after losing a 9-year-long patent infringement battle.
Is that a lot? Is 24 million a lot?
$23.5 million is a lot of money.
Woo!
Again, after all of the acquisitions, after all of
So what?
there's so much money being thrown around.
So they lost a patent. What were
Yeah.
they trying to get?
So let me go back. This was early in the month, so it's been a little bit of time since had researched it. The patents were related to simultaneous sharing of information used in multiplayer aspects of Activision Blizzard's games. So there was another company called Acceleration Bay that basically, they had this programming that allowed it to share information.
Huh.
So I don't know. I don't understand technical stuff, but
Yeah.
all that to say, it's a ton of money to be coughing up. Not only that, they have to pay for, the infringement.
Right.
But on top of that, this was a 9-year long the amount of legal fees and stuff associated with that.
So since Microsoft bought them, is that now Microsoft's tab to pick up? Or...
Probably.
Ouch.
I mean, essentially. I mean, it's just nuts, but
Wild.
yeah. So, that's it for the direct video game news that I have. Do you have anything else, Ryan?
The only other thing I have, just because again I have boys in my house that love it. Right now, I think until June 4th, 5th, something like that, all Minecraft games are 50% off.
Oh, snap.
At least they are on Xbox for their 15... No, it's on Switch too, because my son was going to buy one on Switch. All their games are 50%, 50% off.
50% off.
Because it's their 15-year anniversary.
My gosh.
Yeah, so
That's
A,
wild.
how old does that make you feel? And B, all their stuff is 50% off.
That's crazy.
So I think my son is going to buy, he's been wanting Minecraft Legends, I think is what it's called. I don't know anything about it. So it's half off right now. So I think you can buy it. So yeah.
Well, if you listen to this show immediately when it comes out on the 31st of May, you've got a few days.
Yeah.
If you listen to it anytime after that, you're probably out of time.
That's what you get for not listening right away.
Why didn't you listen to it on release day? Shame on you.
So yeah, I've played the original Minecraft plenty, but
I never got into Minecraft.
There's Minecraft Legends and Minecraft Dungeon and Minecraft story mode. There's Minecraft everything. So
Maybe I should go buy one and play Minecraft.
you should at least play Minecraft. I mean,
no, not
like-
going to right now. I don't have time for that. All right, so Minecraft is also kind of tangentially related to this, only because it has to do with building blocks.
look at that. Look at that segue.
Look at that segue. So the final thing that I wanted to mention is Lego just dropped a Legend of Zelda
Yes. Oh my
Lego
goodness.
set that looks absolutely incredible. Super excited about it. However, I'm not super excited about the price. But,
no. Okay.
But Great Deku Tree Lego set. It is 2 sets in one. So you can do the Great Deku Tree from Ocarina of Time.
Yep.
And you get the Link minifigure from Ocarina of Time. And also Great Deku Tree from Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom. And you get Link from those games. So 300,
Listen.
$299.99.
Lego, we need to talk. There's a term for that, and it's called price gouging. Okay?
I don't
That's
need
absurd.
I don't need to eat this month. It's good.
That's absurd. $300.
I'm sure. So here's the thing with it. Like, obviously, the name Lego has something to do with this, and it's a big deal to have a Lego set. Lego sets are expensive and pricey, no matter what at this point. Like, Legos are just expensive. Doesn't matter because people love Legos. But I mean, how much of a kickback is Nintendo getting for
that's why it's so expensive.
What's the licensing on
That's
this?
why it's so expensive.
Like, what is the licensing?
Make no
on
mistake
this?
about it. That is why it's so expensive.
Like, it's got to be astronomical for
They
them
got to
to
send
license
half that $300 over to Nintendo.
Almost certainly, every set is like $150 is going into Nintendo, and people will pay it. Like, there are 100% people who are going to buy that.
Let's take this a step further. There will be people, possibly even Josh Lanier, who buy 2 of them because they can't stand the fact that they only have one of the 2 built. So they're going to buy 2 and build one of each.
Yep. No, I cannot justify buying 2 of them, although I would want to.
You heard it here first.
I would
folks.
100% want to.
I have predicted it.
It's one of those things. They've got some cool stuff out though right now.
They really do.
I saw they've got a bunch of Batman stuff that's really cool. And I just saw that they had hadn't seen this before. I think it's been out though for a little bit. But the Tower of Barad-dûr.
Oh, nice.
From
I haven't seen that
Lord of
either.
the Rings. With the great eye on it
Yeah.
and everything. Like, very cool.
I hadn't seen that.
I hadn't either until today. And I was like, saw a video about
my middle son just came home today with he had to go to the dentist and he was pretty scared. He had to get a cavity fixed and he was really scared. So he did not do well last time. So we motivated him with a potential reward, and that was a Lego set. So he came home with a really cool Knuckles Lego set from Sonic. So they have some really cool stuff. I mean,
it's very cool stuff out there.
Yeah.
But as much as they license, I think at this point, like, I think half of their money has to go.
It's going
has to go to licensing. Anyway, so Legos, Minecraft, they're connected somehow.
Yes, they
Video
are.
games.
I tell people all the time that Minecraft is just Legos.
Yeah, no, I've been told that as well. So, I've never, like I said, when it first came out, someone was like, "Dude, you have got to play Minecraft. It's basically like Lego video game."
It really is.
And I was like, "Okay," and then I never bought it.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that about wraps us up.
That's all I got.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Do all the things. Listen, like, subscribe.
Yep.
Follow, share, and do all that stuff. And we appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast.
Bye.